tell us what you thought of it.
And I
Okay,
get
well-
to announce what they are.
We'll see if this works.
Oh, and one other thing, we had 10 prints that got left off, but there's another 5 digital, which Roger is going to judge them as he sees them.
So we're starting with print general color.
Yes. Okay, oops, hold on. There we go. Oh, it was all set up. Okay, Dorothy, you can project anytime you want.
Okay, now, so,
Okay, click on it. Okay,
oh,
good.
there we go.
Oh, there.
That's
Big
mine.
Chief.
Okay,
Keeps flipping back there. Okay, this was one that I didn't see, but it's quite unusual, just the, the body paint brings that out, and then that
Oh.
colorful with the headdress, the feathers and the other feathers, the shorter ones. And I think the background is very pertinent to it, so it doesn't have a busy crowd scene or buildings or anything, just that. And so you have the different blacks, and I do like too that you have the highlight in the eyes. They're pretty strong highlights, but he's kind of looking off camera, so your attention is drawn to him, not back to you. So overall, I think this is a fairly strong image. Give it a 4 for composition, 5 for impact, and a 4 for technique.
Big Chief by Don Burnell, 13 points.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't have any arrow, Tim. Do you know what my problem is?
Yeah, yeah, it's floating around up. You had it.
There you go.
Click.
Okay,
Forgotten Farmhouse.
This one gives me a lot of information. I do like the image, it's pretty strong, but I think there's more
You see okay
information.
in there, Jane?
Yeah, fine.
There's more information here than you need. I almost am thinking that, maybe this right tree could be eliminated a little simpler, because I always like the predominant part of the subject to be dominant and not be competing with other things. And so to me, the building itself is competing with this group of trees. And I think if that was simplified by cropping that one off, and maybe even cropping about half the foreground, all these weeds and stuff here. The sky is really strong. I like the little group of trees back here. I like the leading lines of the plowed area to go back in there. Everybody okay? Somebody.
Oh, maybe Dorothy should mute all of us. And then, oh, never mind, Dorothy.
But I think that they're just simplifying by cropping in and eliminating part of the subject. And, this has a fairly strong, because you have a different, plane of focus here. And I like the green moss growing on the shady side of the roof. Really nice cloud formation. So on this one, I'm going to give it a 4 for composition, 4 for impact, and 4 for technique.
Forgotten Farmhouse by Tim McGee, 12 points.
okay, I'm going to mute everybody now. I'm sorry I didn't before. And Roger, you will need to unmute yourself.
Did you unmute? Yeah.
Okay, now, Roger, you unmute yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Now let me see here. I don't know why it's going so slow. There we go.
Nutria.
Okay, an interesting little animal. And I find it interesting that the pond scum or pond duckweed or whatever it is, I think that adds another element. And then the curve of his back and kind of the color in there. The shallow depth of field works to separate the animal from the background. I kind of think there's maybe a little too much, especially with these dark brown spots, that probably the front could have been, half of that taken away and just highlight the animal a little more. Real good dimension, the way his ears stand out, his paw stands out. Just a really interesting thing, and tight enough shot that you can concentrate on the animal. And also, I think they're fairly rare, so you have that element too. So I'll give this on composition 5 and 4 for the impact and 4 for technique.
Nutria by Donna Larson, 13 points. The Chase.
Okay, this one I think is just kind of overwhelming. It's so colorful and so active, and horse and rider leaning into the scene. So it has a lot of dynamic energy in it. But it's, unless you could somehow separate the horseback riders from one another so you can concentrate on a simpler thing. I just find it fairly busy, but exciting as far as action, and there is some separation with this rider here, but here, this one, it kind of blends into, a whole lot of arms and legs. And I hadn't seen this, but I do like the shallower depth of field so that at least the background trees are out of focus. The foreground, the hooves and the grass separation works pretty well. This might be a little tight on my right here, where I would like to see a little more space. And I don't know what was over here, but if there was any simplified area, I'd go to that. Or I might go back in and eliminate the last rider there, just have the guy with the red arm and leg. So composition 4, impact 5, and technique 4.
The Chase by Don Burnell, 13 points. All right, so we're going into general monochrome now.
Gosh. I don't know. I've got to go out of this.
Okey doke.
Tim, can you help me at all? I don't know what I'm doing here.
Well, try your back button. Way up on the top left.
Okay, there, okay.
Okay.
Okay, there it was.
Yep.
Okay.
Foliage.
Okay, this one I think has some things going for it and some other areas it's a little confusing. I think it's the similar shapes and the similar curves. It kind of creates a rhythmic pattern, which is nice, but I'm kind of looking for a center of interest that's been tack sharp focus. And I have the print here and I really couldn't see any area that was tack sharp. So I'd like to see that a little more, maybe, like this one, or these two are more dominant, but and also the softness of them, they kind of blend together a little bit more. I think this would be a good image for large size and tack sharp. Okay, composition, it'll be a 4, impact 4, and technique 3.
Foliage by Elaine Giordoni, 11 points. Painted Warrior.
Kind of spotted there. So it's interesting, and I like the thing that it's a more simplified image just because one figure and slightly out of focus background. Cloud detail's nice, and the fur hat has a nice texture. The spots there work pretty well, and he looks fairly thin, and I don't know if it was actually was a thin person or if just the optics of the lens you were using thinned that down a little bit. So I'm going to go impact 4, composition 4, and technique 4.
All right, Painted Warrior by Don Burnell, 12 points. Tranquility.
Yeah, I thought this was a fairly interesting one because it takes an artistic eye to really to see the composition there and stuff. And so this kind of circle of rocks brings your eye around this, I don't know if you'd call it a totem or whatever, of the stacked rocks. But again, I think this one could be simplified a little bit more because this is a pretty busy subject anyway. And then this foreground texture of these rounded rocks, I think competes a little too much. And I think this area and the contrast here with the little wave patterns and the shadows is the strongest part of the scene. And this is kind of competing with it. I do like the soft clouds, that maybe they're moving clouds or whatever. That's a good part, but I think a fourth of this foreground could have been eliminated and improved, I think. I really like the difference in the textures of the rocks. You have some lighter rocks and darker rocks, and the angles and angular nature and the round rocks here work well. Composition 5, impact 4, and technique 4. Or excuse me, 5.
Oh, excuse, okay. Tranquility by Elaine Giordoni, 14 points. Warrior on Warpath.
This one I think's even maybe the strongest one of the Native American. I like the silhouette of the horn of this headdress, ermine tails and feathers and stuff. Works out really well. And even normally I wouldn't like that much contrast, but I think this one, the contrast adds to it. And I don't know what, this looks like a stick floating in the sky or something. I would take that out in these little spots here that are there just, and there's a couple spots down here too. And I don't know if that was stuff on your lens or whatever, but I think those detract a little, especially the little area here. So composition 5, impact 5, and technique 4.
Warrior on Warpath by Donald Burnell, 14 points. All right, Dorothy, we're moving into subject color.
Okay. Oh, did something wrong again here.
Don't you just click on the icon?
Dorothy, go ahead and open that zip file. It should open.
Okay, well, I think, yeah. Can you see that?
No,
Oh, dear.
you've got to download file open.
Well, I'm going to stop sharing for a minute. I'm sorry about this,
No,
guy.
you're doing well, Dorothy.
Okay, share screen. Okay, what, do I download this? Download all, Tim?
No, no doubt. Don't you just click on the file? On the PSC file?
You can see that, can't you?
I can
See
see
the
the
small
picture.
images.
Yeah,
Okay.
the thumbnails. Bahamian hibiscus.
Interesting color. It's real strong that way. Just kind of knocks your socks off. The color. And I do like that the stigma or whatever this is part of the flower is tack sharp. It does go soft back there, but I don't think this softness in the background hurts it any. And I do like the darker green that's out of focus. So these edges are kind of interesting. And it's kind of a radial composition, meaning you kind of circle, your eye goes into the center of the flower and just really strong. It has a real feeling of kind of tropical. I don't know. This was shot in Hawaii or where, or is Bahamian, I guess it was Bahama. But anyway, just a very strong thing. So I'm going to do composition 4, impact 5, technique 5.
Bahamian hibiscus by Tamara McGee, 14 points. Blossoming.
This one's interesting in that you have this contrasting color in the center of the flower, the purple. And I do like the way too that this is off center a little bit, but you have this one area in focus and these other things go out of focus a little bit. I would almost experiment with that and try a couple different f-stops and see if you could bring more of this in focus and yet keep this background out of focus. And I like the off-centeredness of it too. Just very strong image. So composition 4, impact 5, technique 4.
Blossoming by Elaine Giordoni, 13 points. Coconuts for sale.
Kind of interesting composition with these 3 larger parts, and then you have the background ones that are out of focus a little bit and different colors. Probably could have used a diffuser to cut the highlights on these foreground coconuts, because this area I find a little too strong, and here this a little bit strong too. And I don't know, I'd almost be tempted to go in and do a little restoration work on some of these pumpkins because the scars kind of detract a little bit. Some of it's natural and thing that adds to it. But, you know, I think there's a little too much going on with the scarred up and stuff. So impact, or excuse me, composition 4, impact, I think maybe a 3, and technique 4.
Coconuts for sale by Tamara McGee, 11 points. Piercing Beauty.
This teasel's very strong composition because it divides up the frame of the rectangle fairly well. One thing when I first saw it, I thought the orientation was off, that it should be vertical, but I think it's stronger as a horizontal just because you don't see as much horizontal teasels. You know, it might have been bent over or broken or so. Then these lines are very graceful and they're tack sharp. Probably could have burned in this stem a little bit. It's a little bit bright and maybe a little bit of these lower leaves that they're kind of highlighted too much. So on this, I think the composition is right on. So I'll go 5 with that. Impact 5 and technique 4 because of the areas that could be burned in a little bit. I do like that the background is fairly soft and the muted colors.
Piercing Beauty by Elaine Giordoni, 14 points. Schoolyard Sentinel.
See, this one is kind of almost 2 images to me, sister. Foreground tree, it's in tack sharp focus. And you have almost like a face going on here. And then the out of focus background of the architecture. I find this a little kind of jarring in combination. almost wanting to make the tree the main subject or switch to the tree as being just a foreground framing device and have the building in the background, because this is two really strong images kind of competing for your attention. So I'm going to go for the composition. I think composition is fairly strong. So I'll go 4 there, impact 3, and technique 3.
Schoolyard Sentinel by Tim McGee, 10 points. Superb Starling, Kenya.
The position of the bird in the frame works really well. And the colorfulness of it, I think really, it jumps right out there and grabs you. And the background really adds to it too. It's soft and modeled, so it looks natural. Probably the only thing that I would try to improve on this is this background branch that's in here a little bit. It's either not far enough out of focus, or if you could bring it down to the same tonality of this by either rubber stamp tool or burning it in a little bit more there. Just very dynamic, I think real strong. Even though it does have this background, I'm going to go 5, 5, 5.
Superb Starling, Kenya by Donna Larson, 15 points. All right, subject monochrome. And this will be the last picture of the evening.
Or if I can get back to it.
You're doing great, Dorothy.
Well, I've got some stuff to learn here. Let's see.
Now, this is one that I haven't seen before.
So just, there you go, Dorothy.
As this is coming up,
All
I can
right.
see the subtle things going on with these different shapes of petals and the different light falling on it. So it has a real sort of almost a ghost-like thing. And these background way out of focus, I think add to it too, to show a dimensionality, and there's depth going on. Only thing that I would either take my pruning shears, but this one little stub of a branch down here, I think I'd like to keep that because I like this part, but this is disquieting to me. Or you could crop it right above there too and simplify it. Because this would probably work pretty well as a square format. These silhouetted leaves add a lot to it. And I don't know if this is a little part of a flower, but I might be tempted to take that out and tone this down too, so this bright spot doesn't jump out at you. Composition, go 5, impact 4, technique 4.
Above the Thorns by Harvey Brown, 13 points. And that's it, everyone.
That was fairly painless.
Yeah.
Thank you, Roger.
I'll bring those prints over tomorrow, David.
Okay, we're thinking we'll have an open house again on Sunday if people want to come down and see the prints. And I think if anybody wants to drop off the prints that we had digital but no prints, drop them off and we'll have them here on Sunday if you want to drop them off.
Okay.
And we're thinking 3 to 5 unless somebody thinks there's a better time to do it, more convenient time for people to come. So unless we hear a groundswell of people saying, no, not 3, we're going to do 3 to 5 on Sunday.
Okay.
And then I forgot at the last meeting to mention that Alice gave us a massive amount of mat board, which she's donating to the club. So if anyone would like some mat board, we have a bunch of it down here at the Cannon office. And so come on down and take what you want of it. We'd love to have you use it.
Yeah, I'd like to get a couple. I got a couple that I need to map. So
Well, when you bring the prints down, just pick through the boxes and see what there is that you'd like to have.
Okay.
And also, and thank you, Alice, by the way, for that. Um, and then just a reminder, print night in April is going to be in person, and we're having a potluck, and it's going to be at the Moran Prairie Library. We'll send out emails about it. Probably are going to need some help from some people to put things together. It would really help us if people would let us know if they're coming, and if you're coming with your wife or your family or you know, friends who are showing up at that time. Just let us know so we have an idea of how many tables to set up for that.
my wife and I will probably come.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So let's see what else. You can either, you know, if you're still undecided, if you make up your mind and decide you want to come anyway, even if you didn't let us know, or preferably let me or let Dorothy know that you come when you make a decision. You want to come when you make the decision. I've got just a heads up. Watch for an email. I'm sending an email out probably tomorrow, but it might be Friday, about the Barrett's show, basically giving the details of the show and what we intend to do with the show. So watch for that.
Can we submit metal prints?
Yes, we can do metal, we can do canvas, or we do framed prints. So you can do any one of the three.
Okay.
And it doesn't have to be a new print. I mean, if you've got something that you absolutely love and has been around for a while that you want to submit, that's fine. You don't have to sell your prints, so that if you have one that you love, but you'd like to share it, but you don't want to sell it, that's okay as well. We'll just put a notation on it that it's not for sale.
Okay.
But watch for the email. I'll try to get it out tomorrow, but I can't guarantee it'll be tomorrow. And I had one other thing which I forgot what it was. So I guess I'm not going to worry about it right now. So thank you, Dorothy, for stepping in and becoming our new resident expert.
No, next time I'll do it better. I'm going to practice.
Well, you did well.
Yes,
So
wonderfully.
you did well. We got through it quickly. And I know what the other thing was. Subject. The subject for April is going to be urban decay. So get out there and see what's decaying in the urban. So, and also be creative. You know, I was sort of thinking maybe one of my urban decays will be a bunch of flowers that are rotting in a vase sitting against a wall, something like that. That's urban decay, right? So anyway, try to be creative. So I thank everybody for coming, and if you'd like to stick around and talk for a little bit, that's fine too. Barbara, how are you?
Barbara Murray?
Barbara, you're muted, so you'd need to unmute. Yep, I guess not.
David, the
Yeah,
status on our equipment at the church?
the equipment is not at the church, it's being cleaned right now. So we should, as soon as I hear that they're done cleaning it, we're gonna, at a minimum, we're gonna pick up the stands and probably the TV if it's working, and we'll take those over to the library for the April potluck. So we can have the TV and run the digitals on the TV, and have the stands for. As I mentioned before, we'll do the regular digital night, or not digital night, print night, judging, and then after, anybody who wants to bring a print just to share, not to be judged, but just to share, we'll have a bunch of racks so that we can put up some other prints for people to take a look at. So keep that in mind if you have something you'd like to share to bring to the April meeting. And then we're going to have, we're going to have some door prizes and some whatever else we can think of to try to make it a little more fun. And so
Dave,
I, for one, sorry, who's that?
Don,
Hi, Don.
where was that building at that McGee took a shot of? It was on Mullen? Where?
Which building?
Last,
The house.
it was,
Oh, the old house?
no, it was a house being torn down, or not torn down, but it had lumber all over it.
The house with the moss on it.
Hey, Tim, are you still
No,
there?
no, not the one with the moss on. I'm talking about, I'm talking about the
Oh, the
digital
one-
images.
The one with the tree and the school behind it?
So this is Tim. I think Don's talking about the one last week. Are you talking
Right.
about the one down on the Mullen Trail?
Yeah, where's that at?
So that's down. It's in southeastern Washington. It's due south of Sprague and west of Rosalia. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere. If you're interested, though, I could pinpoint it on a map and email you a Google link that'll show you on a map where it is.
Is
Okay,
that close to that Blue Stem place that's abandoned? Steve,
Is it what?
remember when we went
Oh,
down
it's
to Blue
south of
Stem
Sprague.
It was
and
like
State Patrol showed up and had a slow day?
I remember it well.
I think
The
they had
nearest town
some-
down there is called
Yeah.
the nearest town is called Binge, Binge, but it's a ways from there too.
Oh,
Yeah.
We saw an incredible herd of elk down there too. There must have been 200 or 300 of them in this herd.
yeah, I went up to Kalispell here a couple of weeks ago and there was a herd of at least 200 elk just sitting down and grazing, kicking the snow away.
Wow.
Barbara did figure out how to unmute herself. So Barbara, you want to do that again and tell us how you're doing? If you're
Barbara,
there.
you need to unmute again.
There you
There
go.
we go. Good.
Hold your space bar down and that'll let you talk, Barbara. Like that. How are you?
How are you, Barbara?
Not going so well there.
Try turning your volume all the way up.
So Barbara, if you push down on your space bar and hold it down. Now speak. Wonder if she doesn't have her sound on. David, you're muted.
I said, Barbara, I'm sorry we can't hear from you, but we wanted to let you know that we're thinking of you and we hope you're doing well.
Mhm.
So let's see, there was one other thing that I was trying to think about here. The potluck is on the 20th at the Moran Prairie Library. And then
Is that a Sunday or a Saturday?
Wednesday.
it's a Wednesday.
Oh, Wednesday, okay.
It'll be our regular print night.
Oh, okay.
It's basically, since we're not doing salon, it's the night that we would have been, when we would have been doing salon, sort of. But it would have been the regular scheduled print night.
Okay.
Anything else good for the good of the order? If you need some good poems, Lynn seems to distribute poems. And I had 3 really nice poems from Lynn that she left off. So if you're in need of a poem, contact Lynn.
I have quite collection.
Cool. I'm gonna head out. Good night, guys.
Oh, thank you,
Nice.
Colleen. Sorry, forgot to thank
Yes.
you as well.
Oh, my
Thank you.
pleasure.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
We'll see you at digital night.
Okay,
Take care.
Okay.
take care.
Thank you.